282-0685. Thank you, Deacon Renee Wise. That's our station manager here at the Boston Praise Radio and TV Network. Kingdom, greetings, and God's richest blessings be multiplied to you. You're tuned into another segment of Healing Our Land's live interactive broadcast exclusively here on the Boston Praise Radio and TV Network, a ministry of Global Ministries Christian Church. You can participate by calling 617-282-0685, www.bostonpraiseradio.tv. We're on Pastor Bruce Wall's Facebook page, and you can write us at 670 Washington Street. By way of announcement, this coming Saturday, it's August the 15th from 12 to 5, Boston Praise Radio and TV Network will be having our telethon that we have every month. This time will be in the community or in front of the church. We usually have it inside the studio. We'll actually take the studio to the street on this coming Saturday. So please join us, spread the word. 12 to 5 outside will be a community fundraiser. There will be giveaways, and there will be music and an opportunity to engage the broadcasters as well as our elected officials, those who are running for office, everybody to come through that utilizes the platform, support the platform so that we can continue to be on the air, not just to survive, but to thrive. Also, by way of announcement, August 30th, is Pastor Bruce Wall's final sermon in the pulpit in the context or the capacity of senior pastor. He's ascending to the office of Pastor Emeritus, where he will continue to guide the vision and direction under the transitional pastor's leadership of Pastor Barbara Hamilton, and I'll support her in that role. And there'll be a final celebration for Pastor in the community, and that will be October 17th, and you need to get your tickets. Early bird specials are on that, so you can call 617-282-7794 to find out more about that. Without further ado, I'm so excited to have my friend and my brother on the studio in the person of Elder Ron Bell, the founder of Dunk the Vote. And we're at a very critical time, fastly approaching the September 1st primary election. That is important that everyone participate in that. Is some decisions will be made in the primary, and he's going to educate us and give us some more information about that, as well as Dunk the Vote and some of the other efforts that he is engaged in. So without further ado, how are you, my friend? How are you, my brother, Elder Ron Bell?
Hey, man. How you doing, man? It's good to be back in the studio. Woo.
Was that that chair?
No.
The headphones was loud?
Yeah, it's real loud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's headphones are, one, you got those nice headphones on.
Yeah.
Two, I'll adjust it in a moment because it's always adjusted by, people's hearing is different.
Okay.
So bear with me as I'm trying to engineer, host, and do all the things all by myself. So
I know.
Bear with me, brother. Bear with me.
Yeah.
So, what I can do in the interim is let me see. I can bring it down. Is it not loud in your ear? Me talking, not even your own voice. It's just loud.
It's loud, but it's fine. I can work with it. I'll just stay
it's
back
got
in.
Booming. Okay.
Okay,
right.
good, man.
So how are you, man? What's going on? Talk to us.
I am busy working on getting people out to vote.
Yeah.
Last Sunday, Sister Sharon Hinton and myself broke down that barrier to get into Jubilee.
I saw that.
I mean, Sister Sharon told me that, Jubilee is on board to register people to vote every Sunday. There were 3 services last Sunday, the following Sunday, the Sunday before.
Okay.
There were 3 Sundays, and that's a blessing.
Yeah,
as you know, that's the biggest Black church in New England.
Is it?
Yes,
wow.
It is, as I understand.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, with the 3 services,
3 services, 2 locations, if not 3. I heard they in Stoughton.
They're in Stoughton for sure.
I don't know about Brockton. Someone wrote on one of our posts
that they're also.
They said that are you going to be in Brockton as well? So I don't know. Maybe some other churches. But we're at other churches as well. What I'm doing this year is giving outlet that we have here. It's our rights are under assault. Mm-hmm. And basically on the back of it, it's and I'm going to put my little specs on, voter registration deadline, August 22nd. It's the midterms, right?
Yes.
And this administration is doing everything to show us that the vote is important.
Absolutely.
The Supreme Court ruling just came down that, the interfering with the voter registration today in Massachusetts was rejected. So, that's a good thing.
So elaborate on that, because for those who don't know what you're referring to.
Well, the administration, I just heard it briefly, actually, when I was walking out of my house, about the mail-in voting that was being asked. The post office was asked by the administration, the Trump administration, to hand over voting lists, the mailing list, so it was rejected by the Supreme Court. So that's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Because, as we know, what's going on with immigration.
Absolutely.
The undercutting of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the Supreme Court ruling, just the Louisiana versus Cali, as far as eliminating two majority black district to two black congressional districts, and it goes on and on. So the actions that are being taken by this administration is showing us that the vote is important.
Absolutely.
Right here in Massachusetts, we have some up and coming races, but I'm going to read this first, okay? Because I know I'm jumping.
It's all good.
That's from coming out from that heat out there.
Bless you.
So again, voter registration deadline. Make sure you register to vote or ask somebody else to register to vote. It's so important this year. It's important every year. We've registered over 100,000 people over the years, but for some reason, the folks are not coming out, whether they moved. So if you moved in the last year or 2 or 3 and you haven't voted, make sure you fill out the census every year. This is what's been going on with a lot of folks. I know I've heard that in Brockton that there was a lot of people purged off the voting list. So therefore, we got to make sure that we check our voting stats. So on this little card that we've been giving out at Juneteenth, the other different locations we at the various churches, you can check your voting stats by going on the QR code. You can check your information, Massachusetts voting information, from the Secretary of State on the QR code, right on this little card. We made it nice and small, as well as you find where you can vote. These are all on this QR code. Another date that I want folks to keep in mind, you can vote by mail. Please get your voting by mail application request in now. This is what they send out right here. You may want to show your listeners and your viewers that that's the application, the official 2026 vote by mail application. You have to get it in because by August 25th, your vote by mail has to be in. And we know that there's been problems with the UPS, the United States Post Office, Postal Service. I know that we sent out a number of letters and correspondence out, and some of them were returned because of lack of address, but it was returned 3 and 4 weeks later.
Now, just so we're clear, so what you're saying is vote by mail application deadline is 5 p.m. August 25th.
There you go.
It's right here.
Right there.
All right. So that's important for people to understand. That's just the application.
Right.
Right. For a mail-in ballot is August 25th, 5 p.m.
Right. So that's what I got today. Now, that's what I got a week ago. This is the other thing, and I'm really pushing this. I'm not one, and I'm not going to encourage people to vote by mail, but I'm going to encourage you if I'm going to take that back. Do what you're going to do as far as vote by mail. I'm not trusting the post office because of what's been happening with the post office. But if you normally vote by mail and you don't never have any problems, do so. Because I'm looking at all ways that we can to improve and to promote a true democracy. Okay. So there's one other thing is you realize on on the flyer, it's the early voting. So again, voter registration deadline is August 22nd. Again, vote by mail application deadline is 5 p.m. August 25th. That's the application I just showed you. So if you get the application, fill it out immediately so that you can get a ballot to put it in to send back so that you can vote by mail. The early voting period, I'm encouraging people to vote early. Anything can happen between August 22nd and Election Day, September 1st. So if you vote by mail, I received this in the mail today. Vote early, Boston. It's in different languages, English, Spanish, in other languages. You may want to show that to your viewers. That is the list of early voting locations. And on the early voting locations, in the different locations, two of them that we're familiar with, and I believe the time is, it's on there, Pastor Hobbs. I believe the time is, if you open it up right there to vote by mail, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Well, it looks like different places.
This is what I'm talking about on the 22nd.
Oh, so so it says early voting locations, right? It says Saturday, August 22nd through Sunday, August 23rd.
Right.
It lists a bunch of locations, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
And then it has other locations, 12 to p.m.
Let's just focus on August 22nd for a second, if I may.
Sure,
okay.
Please. Yep, August 27th. Yep,
okay.
So that's 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
So I want folks this year,
Yep.
I want folks, because this election year is so important, we have local elections, but because this election is so important, August 22nd, treat it as if it's election day. And there are two sites that are in our hood that you are familiar with on August 22nd, which is a Saturday, August 23rd, right after church. Right? You can go right after church or after the mosque or after the temple, wherever you're doing, after you watch the game, after you get up.
Okay.
Go to the Shelburne.
Okay.
Let's have a long line. Go to where's the other place? Mildred Ave. That's in Mattapan, right?
Yes.
Go to them two locations. Let's have a long line. That'll change the narrative. If we come out in large numbers on the 22nd, that's going to change the outcome of this election. I believe that.
Okay.
Because it generates excitement. Because the media, it sets the narrative and let folks know that this is important. And you know, as we know, folks want to identify with success. So we have a good turnout, a historical turnout in this primary. People are going to get excited, right?
Sure.
On August 23rd, two other sites, okay? This is make this simple, right?
Yes.
On August 25th, you have the Perkins Center, another place we're familiar with. Yes, of course, you got the Harvard Kent School in Charlestown because some of our folks are in Charlestown. You also have the Quincy Community Center. I don't know if a lot of our folks, but the Quincy Community Center is another place. But for black folk, okay, and Latinos, and particularly some whites, Perkins Community Center. Now, you can go to any of these locations. You don't have to go to your location, your polling location that you go on election day. These are special early voting sites. And there's a whole list, as you alluded to earlier, that people can go to. So please, August 22nd, look at that as a special day early voting, okay? August 23rd. If you miss August 22nd, treat that as if it's election day. Because it's early voting. Same thing. It's legitimate. You have the folks there. You know, they have you on the list. They have everyone that's on the list that's a City of Boston resident that's registered. Now, if you go to the polling location and they say your name is not on the list, for whatever reason, you can still vote. What you do is ask for a provisional ballot. A provisional ballot so that they can put them aside, make sure your vote is counted, and they count the provisional ballots. At least they're supposed to.
Okay. And again, that's if you are you're previously registered. You can't register on that day because that hasn't been passed yet, right? Same day registration on that's ballot question number 4. Okay, but that's not in play yet. That's a ballot question. But right now, if you show up on election day and you're not registered to vote previously by that deadline, the 22nd?
The 25th.
Well,
you have to be registered by the 22nd. Correct.
Okay,
you're right.
So if you're not registered by the 22nd, then you will not be able to participate in this primary election on September 1st.
Let me say this too, because this happened to a couple other folks. That happened in effect on the last day of voter registration. Okay? On the last day of voter registration, it's the same day as early voting.
Correct.
So you can I don't know if you can register that day on August 22nd because it may take a couple of days to get it processed.
Okay.
But by right, if you register, they haven't figured it out yet.
Okay.
If you register and get it in by 5 p.m., there were folks who tried to go vote in early voting. They weren't on the list yet because their voter registration hasn't been processed.
Okay.
But you can probably vote on August 27th.
Okay.
Which is either at my old home, the Tobin Community Center in Mission Hill, where many of us are familiar with.
You'll definitively be able to vote on September 1st for sure if you register. I just want to be clear, right? Because I'm saying, so I get early voting. I get you trying to encourage that.
Right.
But I'm just want to say, if you register by August 22nd and you've got your registration in, then minimally you'll be able to cast your ballot on September 1st.
Absolutely right. You just jumped ahead of me, but that's
my
okay.
bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Because I was just trying to get people through this whole early voting because a lot of us missed that opportunity.
Sure.
And guess what happened? Oh, I forgot.
Sure.
On September 1st, maybe working 2 jobs, 3 jobs.
Yeah.
It could be anything that can happen.
Sure.
I normally vote on September 1st, but this year I'm voting early. Okay. I did it one time, and I was skeptical because, I've seen some things, right? But I'm encouraging people to go early.
Sure.
For those of us who are doing the work on Election Day, which many of us should be doing this year, whether it's broadcasting, whether it's door knocking, whether it's phone banking, whether it's bringing somebody to the polls, giving them rides to the polls, whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So talk about, now that we've got those dates that are important dates, talk about what's on the ballot. Like this is some decisions will be made at the September 1st election date. One of those being the district attorney, this very hot contested seat for the district attorney that we know affects so many of our black and brown and poor folks who are getting caught up in the carceral settings. So that's an important race for people to understand will be decided on September 1st. People will be like, I'm waiting until November. It'll be too late. It will, because they're all Democrats. So it'll be determined on September 1st who will be our next district attorney.
You're absolutely right, Pastor Hobbs. I'm going to call you Pastor Wall.
I'll take it.
Okay. So, no. You're absolutely right, because that's why I'm trying to take these in little baby steps.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I'm going to make sure we get the best out of democracy on every phase of this process, because it has changed. Massachusetts may be different in many ways as far as being a liberal state, but Massachusetts has its issues as well.
Absolutely.
Polling locations may sometimes change. There's been times when there weren't enough ballots. I remember that. I'll go as far as back 2006, Governor Patrick, folks ran out of ballots, and people were turned away. So let's not take it for granted that Massachusetts, liberal state and everything, because you can just look at some of the policies that it doesn't help us in many ways. So yes, what was I saying?
So what's on the ballot?
What's on the ballot?
What's on the ballot?
The DA's race, as you mentioned, you have 3 candidates running. I know you interviewed one of them.
I interviewed all of them.
You did?
I did.
Okay,
absolutely. I interviewed Rachel Rollins. I interviewed Kevin Hayden, and I interviewed Lyndon Champion.
Beautiful.
All those broadcasts are there for people to be able to see the nonpartisan questions for all of the candidates who are running for that seat.
That's beautiful. That's good. I was at the debate. Great turnout.
Yeah.
Very good turnout. Kind of feisty at times.
Sure.
But at times it gets like that.
Sure.
I was encouraged just because of the turnout. And everyone in there got one of these.
Beautiful.
I made sure that. And the ones that threw it on the floor, I picked it up. Because we are grassroots and these cost money. So therefore we were able to get that out. Hopefully people read it. They didn't announce any dates on, I was a little disappointed that was announced, but I didn't bulge my way up to the front to make sure that they announced it. I let folks do their thing. It was a good debate, I thought. You got a chance to at least see the candidates. Sure. I wish there was another one. I'm glad you had the opportunity to interview them, to give other folks the opportunity to see the policies each one have that we really didn't get too much of. It was more or less their past and present where they stood on issues. some of their failures, or what have you. But it was really good for me, I thought. I hope, this is my hope, that everyone that was there, one, registered to vote, because there were brothers coming in who did not realize in your work, when they're released, that they can register to vote in Massachusetts, right? There was some still there, Pastor Hobbs. We got more work to do.
Absolutely.
I know you're doing a lot, but but the thing is, a lot of folks still don't know. So we got to put that out there.
So just make sure
you say it.
Okay,
you got that part.
If you have a felony conviction on your record and you've been released from incarceration, you're on parole or you're on probation, you can. Yes, you can vote. The minute you walk out the door, your votes are restored. Your right to restore. The only way you are prohibited from voting in the state of Massachusetts is if you're presently, operative word is presently, serving time for a felony conviction. If you're serving a misdemeanor, you can vote. If you're waiting pre-trial, you can vote. The only exception is if you're presently serving time for a felony conviction. And I need to say this, that was not always the case in Massachusetts. That was not the case up until 2000. That right was stripped from people serving felony convictions because they were using it, to your point, right? So there's been an assault on democracy, particularly those who are descendants of slaves. That's all of us, but particularly people who are incarcerated. The 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution says today that slavery was abolished with the exception of those who've been convicted of a crime. So for all intents and purposes, all across the United States, our U.S. Constitution states you are relegated to the status of a slave if you're incarcerated. Pre-trial, serving a misdemeanor or a felony, which means they can treat you inhumanely and they can take and they can make you work and pay you pennies on the dollar. It's a free workforce. It's a relic of slavery. So I just need to say that. People don't know that. I learned that from Luis Carcione from Cure right here in this room. And I'm still mortified to believe that that's the case. We're celebrating 250 years of the founding of America. We're celebrating, what's the other one? 250 years of the founding of America. There's another thing that they're celebrating, but this notion of democracy that is definitely at stake. So know that you can vote once you've been released, and it's important that you do vote because that right was stripped from you. We're working hard. I got to say this. Senate Bill 524 sits in the Ways and Means Committee right now, and you can call your senator and ask them to vote favorably for it and have them pull it to the floor for a vote, because that will restore thousands of people to vote in presidential elections and municipal elections just by having your senator, you're their constituent, to be able to vote favorably for it and pull it to the floor for a vote. We still have to use a U.S. constitutional amendment for people to vote in the state election. So we've got work to do, but you can help us get a portion of that rights restored to people by simply calling your senator and having them vote favorably for it and pull it to the floor for a vote.
Thank you for saying that, because that's so important, right? And many of the folks that are behind the wall look like us.
Come on.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So just remember that. So when we ask you to go out and vote, when we ask you to register to vote, get educated on the issues and understand where the candidates stand, is because there are forces out there that are trying to eliminate us.
Correct.
They're trying to, our rights are under assault, as I had mentioned on this flyer. I just want to go back to some of the tools that are used in far as voter registration, because one of the things that I am proud of authoring this little black book, when you talked about the 13th Amendment, it made me say, okay, we're going to talk about this for a little bit.
Yes, please do.
Basically, this is a resource, right? It's not a legal document. It was something I put together from experience, from what I've seen, what I've heard from people that we've lost due to police misconduct, police brutality, from civil rights being violated, from racial profiling, from the Stewart case to the Rodney King verdict, from all these brothers and sisters that have been killed, publicly seen. We watch it. Folks still don't believe us. So I put this little document as a protection. We know what's going on with immigration. We know what's going on with racial profiling. If you've been black, you've probably been racial profiled, whether you driving while black, walking while black, talking while black, shopping while black, just being black, right? So therefore, here in Massachusetts, I might add, so civil rights is one of the topics we covered. You had talked about the 13th Amendment. We also have voting rights. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 on August 28th. I will be there down in D.C. D.C., 63 years where Dr. King gave I Have a Dream speech. I'm 63. I was born that year. No wonder I'm doing this work. Then we also have racial profiling. We know many of us been racially profiled. So voting, civil rights, voting rights, racial profile, and of course, immigrant rights. We have this in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. So therefore, anyone that's interested, you can visit our website and you can purchase. We're getting organizations to purchase big bulks. We give them out to folks when we can. We try to raise as much money as we can so that we can distribute it to at least 30,000. We already distributed 20,000 copies of this. I'm so proud of that. But 30,000 is our goal for this year. Then we'll get an app. The young folks say, you need to get an app. You know what? Listen, let's get it in the hand. So I need to have a conversation so we can get back to talking to each other again. Hello, So then we also have police misconduct. So make sure you read this. There's numbers. There's folks that you can contact if you've been racially profiled. Your civil rights have been violated. No one has the right to abuse your civil rights. No one has that right to do, whether it's management, whether it's a politician, whether it's a preacher, whether it's this, that, whatever. It could be anyone. So make sure you get this document. It is helpful and use it because it can help you and somebody in your family.
Did you say that it also, I know that it does, but I think I heard you say, but I just want to underscore that it also talks about how you engage with ICE.
Yes, it does.
It's an immigration, but more specifically, we're talking about that level of police or being ICE.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right, because I mentioned police, but also all in all, law enforcement. If I could just read that thing that you went there. You know your rights, immigrant rights, right to due process. You have the right to a fair and speedy deportation hearing, right to legal representation. You have the right to legal representation during deportation proceedings, protection from unlawful detention. You have the right to be free from unlawful detention by immigration authority. Let's give some examples. A person awaiting a deportation hearing is held under inhumane circumstances. A non-immigration officer demands a person immigration status. And last but not least, an immigrant family is denied an apartment because they are suspected of being undocumented by the landlord. ICE comes to your door. This is what you do. Immigration and Customs Enforcement can only come into your home if they have a warrant signed by a judge. They may try mislead you into letting them in. Never simply open the door. You can ask them to slide a warrant under the door. A lot of folks don't know that because we get nervous, and it's very difficult when you're in that situation. How can I help you? The door open, you say, how can I help you? Remain silent. I have a right to remain silent. I have a right to refuse to answer your question. So this is what they say. And I talked to the ACLU 34 years later, 34 years before when Dunk the Vote was birthed, we were giving out racial profiling. Milton had the highest traffic stops in the Commonwealth in 1992. The same year I founded Dunk the Vote. That's the same year Senator Diane Wilkinson came in. She reminds me of the time she seen me on Massachusetts Avenue registering voters. That was the first time I ever met her.
Wow.
But in any event, that was the year she became state senator.
Wow.
So stay calm. Do not run. If they insist on entering, ask to see a warrant. You have a right to not sign any documents. Again, remember, you have the right to not sign any document. Ask them to leave any document at the door. These could be agreement to leave the country, which would be harmful if signed. You have a right to speak to an attorney. I am not answering any questions until I speak to an attorney. This is your response. Two good resources for immigration lawyers are National Immigration Law Center, 213-674-2812, American Immigration Lawyers Association, 202-507-7600. So we've been going around to different nonprofits, various churches, giving a presentation on the Black Book. We use this as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
We're good at using things as tools to increase voter participation, like basketball. When Dunk the Vote was birthed, there wasn't a Black Book, but there was a basketball. We used that, registered over 100,000 people 34 years later. So it works. Many things worked. Broadcasting, media, parties, and your support group, your book club, with anything you can gather people together, talk about issues that are important to them, and take action. That's organizing.
It's amazing. That's really great work. One of the folks who are tuning in. So our brother Jamal is greeting you. He says, and brother Eric says, good to see you behind the mic. He is recovering and rehabilitation. Unfortunately, lift him up in your prayers. Leon Rock is also saying, Ron and Pastor Hobbs, keep up the great work, listening from Maryland. So those are some of the folks who are on Pastor Bruce Wall's Facebook feed. Just wanted to acknowledge their contributions. Talk about the ballot questions, right? Because that's a big piece. That's also on the ballot. And it's interesting. I'm going to say this. People should understand we're encouraging people who are directly impacted, one, to vote, not just to vote, but to also to be civically engaged so they can make informed decisions. Thirdly, we're encouraging them to actually also run for office, because you should know here in the state of Massachusetts, though you cannot vote if you're serving a felony conviction, what you can do is run for office, right? People don't understand that. It's not an oxymoron. You can't cast a ballot, but you can run for office even with a even serving a felony conviction, because that's happened as precedent right here in Massachusetts. I want to say Michael Curley. Talk about it.
Well, I can't talk too much about it because I wasn't around back then.
Okay, what you know?
But what I do know that I believe he was the mayor.
He was.
And whatever he did, I don't know. Maybe somebody can send us some information, Google it or whatever. But he was in jail.
Yes.
And he won.
Yes.
And he was running the city out of jail.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
So that's happened right here in the city of Boston.
That would never happen to a black man.
Well, I'm not going to say that it won't, because it can if we vote, right? Because our voting turnout on the outside, we know, is really poor. 13% of the population who was registered to vote even bothered to cast a ballot in the primary for the mayoral election, right? Hence, Judge Kraft backed out because he said, this doesn't make business sense, right? If 13% of the people who are actually registered even bothered to cast a ballot in the preliminary election. To your point, our voting turnout is dismal. So people actually voting who are behind the wall, who are now understanding their voice and their power. And it's actually folks who are incarcerated who could actually make the difference if they exercise their right to vote. And they're encouraging people who they know, right, to actually run for office. They can make the difference. Do you know they can run for sheriff? Even if you're incarcerated? We've never, in the history of the United States, there's never been a person directly impacted who's run for sheriff. Though you can. Do you imagine the difference that would make if you sat in a cage and now you're the sheriff of the cages, right? Wow. You would make a radical difference. Like there's a woman running for governor, Andrea James, who's directly impacted. That would make a radical difference of a person whom will address that. And I need to say this because we're nonpartisan, but I'm going to say the facts.
No, I hear you.
And the facts is I asked Governor Maura Healey, who is our current governor, on a call that was among clergy about people were inviting her to come to their congregation. I said, my congregation's behind the wall. Would you come behind the wall? And she said, yeah. And I asked her, do you support restoring universal voting rights? Senate Bill 524 that Senator Miranda wrote. Do you support that? And she said, I like Senator Miranda. I got to talk to her. It's a conversation we have to have. I have some concerns. That raises concerns for me. That should be a resounding yes. We talk about democracy and this effort of everybody having a voice, particularly those who are incarcerated. Right? You got family and family members, and you are a person who still has influence over you're a citizen who's been taken from society, so allegedly under the custody and care for rehabilitation, not for perpetual pain and punishment, and you dehumanizing and stripping you of your rights as a human being, and to be participatory in your own, you and your own family's life, right? You shouldn't be stripped from that as well. Your punishment is you've been taken from society. The intention is supposed to be custody and care for rehabilitation. So I need to say that people can. Though it's never happened with a black man, it could if we exercise our vote, one behind the wall, as well as we've been doing this for years, as you know, and people are registering. We had a group we did a circle, restorative justice circle, in the Nashville County Jail, forgive me, we've been doing this every other week because we're consistently doing this to build momentum. And literally, we had 18 people in the class, the education room, packed.
Wow.
We now have to move from that location because we've exceeded the capacity in the education room. We're getting ready to move upstairs to the chapel so we have more space. Half of those people registered to vote. and did absentee ballot applications. Half. So it was, so I said 18 and 9 of them. That's half, right? And the other half are already registered. And the ones who are already registered encourage the ones who have never registered and took pride in the fact that I don't participate in this. It's not for me. But now, because they're being educated and they're understanding how it directly does impact you, they're saying, I want to definitely vote. Forgive me, my nose here is running.
No. But that goes to my point.
Yes.
As far as early voting.
Yes.
The momentum.
Yes.
Make it infectious.
Yes.
Where people feel there's a win happening.
Yes.
You know, I remember when, this is from a partisan perspective. This is not Dunk DeVoe. When I worked on Governor Deval Patrick's campaign, they were first. I had to get the name right. They were calling him Patrick Deval. They would cuss him out and then call him the wrong name. I said, well, at least get his name right. That was one part of it. I remember preachers. All of them said they were with him. You know, the only preacher that was there for Deval at the beginning, the brother who ran the African American Museum. It was one preacher with him. What's his name? He did development.
I'm trying to recall now. I know, but he did development.
I forgot he did development at the African American Museum. He worked there. Keith
McGee.
Was it
Keith McGee?
Might have been him. Light skin.
Yeah, that's him.
He was the only.
Reverend Dr. Keith McGee.
He was.
That's him. I remember now.
He was the first one.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you had all these preachers saying that they're gonna help.
Yes.
And I was like, we had about 300 to 400 that joined.
All of a sudden, when you're gonna win, everybody wants to be me.
When I first started, I said, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do this by myself.
I remember.
And you remember?
I do.
Because you was in my office, and you know,
many times.
And I was like, oh, these dudes act like they did something. Now, I applaud everybody who contributes something.
Sure.
Because we all needed everybody. Because we ran out of ballots that year.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So that was powerful, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, we need to generate the momentum.
Yeah.
September 1st is very soon.
Very soon.
Very soon.
Yes.
August 22nd is what? Next week.
Yeah. Today's the 12th, so we're literally talking
10 days.
10 days.
10 days. You can go cast your ballot. Please do so. Vote early. And if you want to vote by mail, make sure you submit your application. Make sure and register to vote. This is a voter registration form. I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence, but we have a voter registration form. You fill this out, you tear this off, you mail it in, or we'll come get it from you. Okay, we will come get it from you. You fill it out the name. First of all, you want to say, are you a citizen
First
of
and
the United
foremost,
States?
check that box. Don't miss that box.
Don't miss that.
Please
But
don't.
normally what they do, they check it when you go to the election department sometimes. But anyway, you check it.
You check it, because make sure you're a citizen first, then check it. I'm just saying. Listen.
Make sure you check that box and put your name.
Yes.
If you got a former name, put that too. Because some of us got aliases that are known as whatever. But and then you got your residential address, your mailing address, which could be different or it could be the same. Your date of birth, your identification number, it's usually your license, the last 4 digits of your social, identification number, telephone number, that's optional. And then you submit your party. Do you have a Democratic party? You have a Republican party or no party unenrolled, such as myself? And then you have political designation. Okay, you can write something in these other parties that I don't know what. Anyway. Address of previous registration. You put that down and make sure you sign this and date it. Get this in. You have until August 22nd. Make sure you register someone at your church, register someone at your house, register someone in your school, college, or you name it. Please do that because it's so important. Again, the deadline for that is August 22nd. We will leave some of these with Pastor Hobbs. I got a whole brown bag for you.
Beautiful.
Of flyers.
We'll take them. Boston Presidential Network.
Yes, sir. We lost him.
No, we got a caller. I'll take those. We have a caller. My brother Jamal. Go right ahead, sir.
Peace. It is good to see y'all together and Ron Bell.
Yes, sir.
Back in the thing.
Yes.
As I've told you privately and I've said publicly too, I think this is one of the best things you've done. I like when people produce a tangible work.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this actual book is great, and I'm so grateful that this little black book came from your big black head.
Only you can call me that. In my black hand. Yes, sir.
You dig?
Yep.
But the information that you've been giving out, for years, ever since the dunk the vote and everything, it's critical. And brothers like you, have been on the forefront. So I always thank you for that work.
Thank you.
Over the years too, our relationship is, I think, a very good example of things where we ain't agreed on everything.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You supported your cousin against me when I ran for office. How dare you?
You forgive me? You forgive me though, right?
Yeah, you be all right, even though you made the wrong choice. It's all right. It's all right. But and what I wanted to ask here is actually a technical question.
Yes, sir.
With the recent controversy of the Rachel Rollins, the signature thing, right? Without getting into the scandal, all I want to know is when people volunteer for a various campaign, right? And everybody, we're doing signature gathering. Hey, I'll take some papers. When the people get those papers, like, hey, you gave Jimmy 5 papers, you gave Steven 6 papers, whatever it is, do those papers, are they signed by the person who actually did the signature gathering?
Sometimes.
It's not mandatory.
It's not really mandatory, I don't think, because I know there are folks that, I've collected signatures and we collect their sheets. You know what? I don't want to say, I don't know if it's not. I'm not sure. I'm not even going to. Okay. I'm not sure because I've collected a whole bunch of signatures. And did I sign them? I'm trying to think, did I? I don't think I signed them. Because normally what happens, I don't know if it's what you're supposed to do. We turn in the forms and whatever happens in the central office or the central headquarters, they make sure everything's tight. Yeah. So
they double check the signatures and they do all that, right?
So they take credit for the work you may have done, literally, because they'll sign off on it. I don't know if it's mandatory. That's a good question. I'm going to find out because that's important.
Yeah, and the only reason I bring that up is because even though most folks have recently on social media and everything know that I've been critical of some of this campaign stuff with the DA's office and whatnot, but I am one who's for fair play.
Right.
And I do not believe that Rachel would have, people are almost talking like she sat up in her house and forged these signatures. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
That didn't happen. But what I'm concerned about is, look, if Ron Bell is running for office and I don't like Ron Bell, it's really easy for me to volunteer for the signature gathering campaign, get 5 or 6 sheets from Ron Bell, and put in Mickey Mouse and everybody else in order to sabotage. So to me, and particularly with the names that they chose to use, which were some kind of, to me at least, not well-known names, but I hope that her campaign is able to, and the Secretary of State and the Attorney General, is able to identify who it was that actually turned in those fraudulent papers, because that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. And you know what, Jamal, you're so correct. Even when I'm working on campaigns, there's always somebody in there that's a snake.
There's always a mole.
Yep. Always there's someone in there that you have to be careful of. I mean, normally when I work on campaign, I'll listen to the plan and I go ahead and do what I do and don't tell them until we win. And, so it's always an opportunity because when you're volunteering, folks want to get paid. You can't pay everybody. And sometimes you just take the help because it's there. And sometimes you'll end up with somebody that's going to do something such as that. I'm not saying it happened, but it didn't sound right to me. That was my first reaction. I said, somebody didn't set this woman up. That was my first reaction. Right. But I don't know if it was true or not. But and I actually seen your comment about the or your question about the when you turn in the signature sheets, do you sign off? I remember that, and I said, what? I can't remember. All I know, I was just getting signatures, turning them in, and I know,
and not for nothing. If they don't, going forward, that might be something that we need to holler at Galvin about.
That's a good idea.
Whoever to make that each signature sheet, if you are you're not a mandated, but whatever. If you're a verifiable volunteer for whichever campaign you choose to be, then it should be no thing. Hey, Jamal Crawford, I was out here gathering signatures for Ayana or for Worrell or whatever it is. It should be clear, and I got signature sheets, 001 through 0020, whatever it is. But there should be a way to track who's getting the sheets, who's turning them in, just to, our president has already told us voter fraud is prevalent.
Right. Made it very clear. You know what? The more I think about it, I think campaigns don't require it because you again, you're asking for help, and it could be anyone that may be sketchy. And that's why I think they put in a central location to make sure you have the signatures, everything's properly documented. And actually, you know what? Because a lot of folks don't know their ward and precinct. So they write that in, and I think they sign off on it, the people in the office.
Oh, right. Like you mean some people leave that part blank, and then based on the address, they'll fill that part in.
Right. So it's a good question. I don't know.
We need to get some answers, and not for nothing, Hobbs. You know who would be a good interview for you or anybody on the broadcast is actually, especially now that it's not an election cycle, because he's not the most media-friendly person, but it's actually Galvin.
That'd be amazing. We've been trying to do that forever.
You have tried. Okay.
We have. I will say this, though. We have a relationship now with him being healing our land and empowering descendant communities to unlock democracy since myself and 5 of the plaintiffs actually had to sue the Secretary of State, and now the Supreme Judicial Court is mandating that they actually implement follow the law that was passed, the Votes Act in 2022, to give reports, particularly as it relates to those who are behind the wall, who are eligible to vote, how many attempted to vote, and how many actually cast their ballots, right? So something that they've ignored us consistently. We had to literally pass a piece of legislation. Campaign Legal Center and Lawyers for Civil Rights represented us the mandamus report, right? Because you simply broke the law by not submitting the reports in the primary and the final election. So it was an open and closed shut case. Now the Supreme Judicial Court is mandating that they're giving us this information, this data of folks behind the wall. So we now have a relationship that's a working relationship. So hopefully now maybe that will change, that he'll be willing to share, because we're getting reports. We have a relationship that we're actually been trying to have for a very long time that was forced, but nonetheless it's happening. So I love that idea.
I'm going to try to get him. I never asked him because I really didn't feel like listening to him, but I'm going to ask him anyway, because you raised this point about these signature forms and just the voting laws that are changing constantly.
They're draconian. Getting signatures. Listen, I've done this just to be able to get the signatures on the ballot for a ballot initiative for a constitutional amendment, right?
Right.
And 750,000 signatures you need across the Commonwealth, and it's broken up proportionately, right? And so each sheet has to be like Dorchester, Roxbury, right? And you can't have a line squiggling from one line to the next, right? It's this little teeny space, right? They'll throw out the whole sheet. So it's a very draconian process of even gathering signatures. And so then if people do, some nefarious kinds of things, it just makes it even more convoluted and challenging. Leon Rock says he's enjoying the conversation. He says, Jamal, you're right on point in terms of these systems that we need to address, right? This is why we have to engage, right?
Yeah.
There's
a lot of loopholes.
It's
a lot of loopholes. And guess who? The administration, Trump, has figured them all out because he knows. So anyway, that's a good point. That's something when I come back.
Yeah.
I'm coming back.
All right, good.
You know I'm coming back, right?
All right,
I'm coming back. We're going to get him there. I think that one's important.
I think it is important.
Especially what you're doing, the work you're doing, the work I'm doing, the work that's being done, and the work that we need to do in the future. Because if we bring him in the house, he'll feel something. You know what I mean? But anyway, I just want to remind, there's a debate. I just seen your next guest coming in.
Correct.
There's a debate tonight for the state representative, Nick Collins and LaToya Gale. They're debating tonight on, it's sponsored by Maha. I guess Massachusetts Affordable Housing Association.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on, isn't there another candidate in there too?
Oh yeah, the brother. What's the brother's name?
Is that
Dwayne?
He looked like your son.
He don't look like my son.
That's probably Dwayne Skeens. I think he's run a few times. I don't know if he's the same.
Jawan Skeens.
Skeens.
Jawan Skeens, Latoya Gale, and Nick Collins. Senator Nick Collins join us for a conversation with the to hear where they stand on home ownership issues. Okay, so that's tonight, Wednesday, August 12th, and it's at what time? 6:15. So I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna definitely watch that. That's the first Suffolk Senate district.
Okay. Listen, our time is quickly coming to an end. Jamal, thank you for calling. Thank you for being tuned. To all those who are giving comments. Sharon Hinton says voter registration this Sunday at Jubilee Church, 7:30 to 10, 12:30 services in the entrance. And Leon Rock says it appears that there are too many elected officials who were not born and or raised in Boston, not giving full commitment to addressing community needs. I could be right. He also said that we have to encourage people who are directly impacted also to run. With that said, Ron, we got like 6 minutes. And so I certainly want to give you an opportunity to be able to, convey anything that you wanted to convey to our listening and viewing audience as we're wrapping up our time.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, vote early, August 22nd. That's the last day of voter registration. Early voting begins that day, that August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's on a Saturday. Either go to the Shelburne Community Center or go to the Mildred Avenue Middle School, right? That's in Mattapan. On August 23rd, you can go to the same places, 11 to 7. You can go after church, the mosque, or what have you, wherever place you go. Even if you're playing ball, go there. Go to these places and vote early. August 22nd, August 23rd, and August 25th at the Tobin Community Center. You can vote at the Tobin Community Center. Now, if you miss them days, if you miss early voting, if you miss mailing voting, make sure you go and vote on September 1st, Tuesday. This is I've never seen it before Labor Day.
That's right.
I've never seen it.
Right.
It's going to sneak up on us.
It's going to slip.
It's going to slip right by us.
Yes.
Normally it's a Tuesday after Labor Day. I don't even know why they did it this year. Maybe because they're protecting incumbents. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to say that. But September 1st, Tuesday, 7 a.m. polls open, polls close at 8 p.m. Make sure you go and cast your ballot because our civil rights are under assault. So please do so.
We're 4 minutes, right? I do want you to quickly enumerate the ballot questions because I think that's something that we're not hearing anything about. And I know one is making marijuana that we voted for to become legal to make that illegal again, correct?
Cannabis,
whatever you want to call it, marijuana, ganja, I don't care, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly. So I don't want them going on. I don't want.
He said weed.
He said weed. Where did they say weed at? I'm looking for the weed. I'm looking for
cannabis.
Cannabis. Okay, so we got Massachusetts has 9 ballot questions. Yeah. I'm gonna read each one of them, and I will be back. Or Pastor Hobbs will expound on them, and we can actually tell you who we're voting for as far as ballots. So, and that's illegal. Extending the public records is question number 1, law to cover the governor and legislator. Number 1, extending the public records law to cover the governor and the legislature. Question number 2, extending collective bargaining rights to CPC employees. Question number 3, eliminating party primaries and having all candidates run on the same ballot, all party primary, top 2 primary, jungle primary. I don't like that.
That's big, man. That's big. We can't let that one slide because that's going to change party affiliations. Like that's going to change the whole landscape.
I just hate the word they use, jungle. But
that part. Okay.
That part. Question 4, allowing voters to register to vote or update their registration on election day. That's an important one. They're all important. Question 5, tightening the state's revenue cap and subjecting fair share revenue to that cap. Question number 6, dedicating the portion of the state sales tax collected from sporting goods, RVs, and golf courses to a nature conservation fund. And question 7, reducing the minimum lot size requirements for single-family homes and communities with public water and sewer. Question 8, where you were referring to, recriminalizing recreational marijuana. They use marijuana. Okay, I thought it was kidding. Okay. All right. Question number 9, upholding the 2024 gun safety law. Them are the 9 ballot questions. We'll have more on them. I want to make sure I get it right before I say anything publicly, yay or nay. But I will tell you what's going to be in favor of us, in my opinion. Not, I'm not going to say it's the expert opinion, but it's the expert opinion. So anyway, so make sure you go out and vote. Visit us at dunkthevoteforever.org. Dunk the vote, the number 4ever.org. That's our website. If you want to help us be able to purchase some of these Know Your Rights Black books, please get these, to get them to your people, get them to your friends, family, your church members, so forth, community-based organizations, civil rights groups, universities, colleges, church, all over. Get it out to people and let them read it. Read it twice. Once you read it twice, pass the information on. There you have it.
Thank you, Ron Bell.
Thank you.
And Dunk the Vote. Thank our listening, viewing audience. We're going to take a station break. We'll be back on the other side of the top of the hour with our guest, Latoya Gale. And she is running for the spot that currently the incumbent is Senator Nick Collins. And we said Juwan Skeens is another candidate. We'll be interviewing those other candidates as well. Stay tuned.